All right, well, the question is, are foreclosure properties a good deal, or can you get a good deal by looking at foreclosure properties? Now, this is a big, complicated topic, so hit the follow button and let's take a look at this, okay? So first of all, foreclosure properties. Why are you looking at a foreclosure property? When I started out in real estate back in 2008, I almost exclusively dealt with foreclosure properties. There was quite a few of them, especially out in the Fraser Valley at that time. And I had a lot of new clients calling me saying, hey, can we look at this property? Or, trying to go through the process. And at the time, I didn't have a lot of experience with it. So it was a good opportunity for me to gain a lot of experience in it. And I did learn a lot going away. So I've got some insight into, what it takes to sort of, first of all, buy a foreclosure property, and what are the benefits of looking at foreclosure properties as opposed to sort of a regular listing that just comes on the market. So first of all, the way that you would get into the benefit of it. So, I mean, the first question that you got to ask is there a good deal to be had? And unfortunately, it's a complicated issue. So you can't just say yes or no. And actually, the answer becomes yes and no. And so it really depends on how much experience you have with the process and what kind of properties you're looking for. Some properties can be a fantastic deal. You can really kind of get them at what would be considered under market value, and you can really do get that great deal. Some of them, though, they end up going for more, in my opinion, than what market value would be had they not been advertised or sold as a foreclosure property. And so, really, how it breaks down is the process. And are you experienced with the process? Do you understand it? And can you make the process benefit you? And the answer to that is absolutely. Once you understand it, once you have somebody on your side that knows how to work the process, you can absolutely make it work for you. So the first thing to do is to break down exactly what a foreclosure property is. It may seem evident to some people, but I'm just going to go through this so that everybody's on the same playing field here. First of all, a foreclosure property is actually a court-ordered sale. Okay, so that's the term that we're using here in British Columbia. It's a court-ordered sale. The court has ordered the sale of the property. Okay, now there's lots of other reasons to get a court-ordered sale. Well, maybe not a lot of other reasons, but there's definitely other reasons to get a court-ordered sale. One of them, I'll just go through a couple of them so you have an understanding. One example would be a divorce. Couples getting divorced. One party in the divorce wants the house to be sold. The other one does not want the house to be sold. So the person who does want the house to be sold goes to the judge, goes to a justice of the peace, and says, "Look, I need the house to be sold." The court grants that person the sale, the ability to sell, and then the house gets sold. That's one example. Other examples are a contractor has done extensive work on your home, and then the bill doesn't get paid. So that person then goes to court. They get a lien put on the house, and then they have to come back, and then eventually they can get an order to sell the house as well in order to recoup the monies that are owed. That one's a little bit more difficult, but anyways, so that's another example of how a court order sale may happen. But the vast majority of court order sales, I'm gonna say, I don't have this actual statistic, but I'm gonna say probably in the 80% range or more. The vast majority of court order sales are due to foreclosure. Now, what a foreclosure is, as many of you will know, it's when you have a loan that is secured against the property or the house, or the property and house, and you default on the loan. And then the person, and usually it's a mortgage that's being held, but there are other types of secured loans, but typically it's a mortgage. And so you default on it, you're not making your payments. You get a bunch of letters in the mail from the lender saying, you're in arrears, you got to make good. That doesn't happen, so they will go then to the courts, and they will ask the courts to grant them what's called an order nisi. Now, at this time, there's actually two types of orders that they can ask for. I'll just clear up the first one because it never gets used. It's called an order absolute. In that particular case, what happens is if they win, if the lender wins, which they never do, so they never use it. But anyways, in the States, they use it a lot. We can cover that in another discussion. But up here in Canada, they don't. And essentially what happens at that point is the courts will transfer ownership of the property on title from the person being foreclosed on into the lender's name. That's called an order absolute. That generally never happens, and there's a whole bunch of reasons for it. But typically, what happens in British Columbia is they'll ask for what's called an order nisi, N-I-S-I, and that is a basically they're just saying, look, you have a time limit. The court is telling the person that has borrowed the money, you have a time limit to pay off what is owed, or we're going to sell it. And typically, that time period is from the court order will be 60, between 30 and 90 days generally. And so the courts will determine at that point how much money is left on the mortgage itself, on the loan, then any penalties that are accrued, as well as legal fees. The lender is entitled to the legal fees and also the realtor fees. So that number will be on the order nisi, and that's how much money the borrower has to come up with within the 30 to 90 days, or else the lender is allowed to put a for sale sign up.